2025 Range Rover Sport for just $1529 per month for 36 months. Drive in style, power, and comfort, all for just $1529 a month. Visit Land Rover Palm Beach today and take the new Range Rover Sport for a spin. Terms and conditions apply. See dealer for details.
Wing Wednesday. Brought to you by Hurricane Grill and Wings. 30 bold flavors, ice-cold beer, handcrafted cocktails. Your home for sports is Hurricane Grill and Wings. Find your spot at hurricanewings.com.
As market dynamics change, the quality of service you receive from your accounting firm shouldn't. Anshin Accountants and Advisors take the time to get to know you and your unique circumstances to help resolve complex issues and develop innovative tax and accounting solutions tailored to meet your goals. If you're a high net worth individual or business owner eager for a strategy to maximize tax savings, let Anshin deliver where others can't. Visit anchin.com. Anshin Accountants and Advisors, recalculating what's possible.
Hi, Kevin Dalton here from the Unlimited Auto Wash Clubs. Time to start getting your ride ready for summer. Stop by the Unlimited Auto Wash Clubs and try out one of our best wash packages, the Ultimate Plus. It gives you everything your car needs inside and out, including our ceramic graphene coating. Or try one of our unlimited monthly plans, starting as low as $34.95 a month, or with inside and out plus tire shine starting as low as $49.95 a month. Visit any one of our 6 convenient locations or call 561-WASH-ME-TOO.
Anajar and Levine.
Call 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733.
ESPN 1063.
WESP Jupiter, a Good Karma Brands radio station. We interrupt our regularly scheduled program for this special presentation of Inter Miami Soccer on ESPN 1063. The pink smoke is in the air. That means legendary goals.
Oh, it's a cannon shot! Go ahead and give him the goal of the week!
Heroic saves.
Outstanding point-blank save! You are denied!
Inter Miami Soccer is on ESPN 1063.
Goal de Messi!
This is Pink Smoke, brought to you by PNC Bank. Brilliantly boring since 1865. Here's Mike Rizzo.
The Club FIFA World Cup. It has been a great time so far, folks, and we will be breaking it down for our entire hour. Welcome on in, folks. Pink Smoke, where we go through everything Inter Miami. And everything going on with our Inter Miami Herons right now is that Club FIFA World Cup. We'll get into the 0-0 draw. It's Damian Perez, our co-host and producer behind the glass here at the City Place Studios. He knows I am not happy. I am not a happy Inter Miami fan after not being able to secure victory against Al Ahly. Not even coming close to a goal, by the way, which, like I said, we'll discuss. But if you're just joining us too, want a little action, or rather want a little update on the Club FIFA World Cup, Real Madrid tied Al Ahly. So those are the big storylines there. We're going to continue to break down the Club FIFA World Cup. PSG picking up right where they left off, completely dispatching a pretty good side in Atletico Madrid. That was the semifinal rematch, correct, Damien? Was at the quarterfinal in Champions League. It was either quarters or semis between Atletico and PSG.
Quarters.
It was the quarters, and Julian Alvarez got called for a double hit, and his penalty did not count. There's a lot of controversy there, but PSG, picking up right where they left off in that 5-0 win in Champions League. But folks, as we start every Pink Smoke, what's going on with the great one? What's going on with that guy who runs around and wears pink for Inter Miami?
It's time for a little Messi mania on Pink Smoke, presented by PNC Bank. The latest match results, highlights, and everything Messi starts now. Brought to you by PNC Bank. Brilliantly boring since 1865. Learn more at PNC.com. PNC Bank, National Association member FDIC.
So Messi and Inter Miami obviously going 0-0, going all the way to the buzzer, 0-0 draw and group play against Al Ahly. Damien, not what I wanted. I got to be honest. I'm not happy with that result. I'm not happy that they weren't able to beat Al Ahly. Now, you got Porto coming up tomorrow. I'm not optimistic about Porto. We talked recently in the last show. Porto's one of those teams who is consistently in Champions League. They're consistently in Europa League. They're consistently one of the best teams in a really good Portuguese league. You had to beat Al Ahly. And listen, maybe I'm giving too much credit to Palmeiras and Porto. Maybe Inter Miami can get a result against those two sides. But Dame, I'm not holding my breath. I'm not holding my breath that Inter Miami is going to be able to get a result after what I saw against Al Ahly.
Yeah, there was a few positives we can take away from that game. I thought the second half, Inter Miami played a way better game. Ustadi, he looked great.
Best game he had all year.
Absolutely. I feel like it picked up in the second half, but I agree. That was the game that if Inter Miami, I don't want to say wanted to have a shot, but if we wanted to start off this tournament with our right foot, that was probably the most accessible game. However, we did see that Palmeiras and Porto did tie 0-0. So there's been a theme with this tournament. I think the South American teams and let's just say the teams not from Europe have stepped up. They've shown more than I think was expected. So that gives me a little bit of hope going into this match against Porto.
Group A hasn't scored a goal, by the way. Al Ahly, Porto, Palmeiras, and Inter Miami, no one scored a goal. Damian, I'm looking at goal differential. 0 across the board. Boring.
Absolute deadlock, that is.
Oh, my God. Talk about digging in and defending. So every single team on the table with 1 point. It's a good shout by Damian Perez. That makes this match, that makes these upcoming fixtures, Dame, obviously in group play like this, you play each team once. That makes these next couple of fixtures, must-watch TV to see who's going to be able to get to the next group and possibly a chance at PSG, the Champions League's champion.
Who looked great, by the way.
Champions of Europe, who looked absolutely fantastic. But, folks, this is Messi Mania presented by PNC, and I wanted to focus quickly on Messi. Now, you want to know what was cruel? Messi's free kick. That should have went in. I cannot believe that it was Damian Perez was a whisker left.
Was it the free kick or was it the corner kick where he kind of floated it?
It was the free kick dead on. It was the free kick dead on that went left post.
Because he also had the corner kick. I think it was probably one of the last.
He tried to go Olympico?
Yeah, no. Well, they played it short. They played it right back to him, and he kind of floated it over the keeper where the keeper got his fingertips to it, and it hit the crossbar. But I thought that one, if you would have made that probably would have been nominated for Puskás, especially because of the situation. Winning that game with, I believe it was in the 90th minute, so that would have been a great way, not just for Inter Miami to start the tournament, but for the Club World Cup to start in general.
I really thought that Inter Miami had a really good chance of winning that game, and convincingly too. And maybe I didn't give enough credit to Al Ahly. Like Dame, they had some ballers on that team. Thankfully, now maybe I'm being a little too critical of our Herons. Dame, let's have a serious conversation here. Al Ahly shot every shot right at Ustari.
Yeah.
Oscar was unbelievable on the penalty. I'm not trying to take away. He was unbelievable on the initial save in the penalty and then the rebound, too. There were 2 chances for the penalty taker for Al Ahly to put that ball in the back of the net, and Oscar stonewalled them every single time. And in the first half, too, I know I just said Al Ahly shot every damn shot right at Ustari, but there are a couple of chances where Ustari kept this from being 2-0, 3-0 in the first half. I thought Inter Miami had a dreadful first half.
Yeah, but it was also Al Ahly's goalkeeper, El Shanawi. He also had a great game. We had the chance that I mentioned Messi late, but there was also a Falcon header that also great save by the Al Ahly goalkeeper. So it seems like that was the theme of the game, not just Ustari, but also the Al Ahly goalkeeper El Shanawi.
So Falcon on the keep. Dane, that was a weird one because it hit the ground first.
Yes.
The header, it hit the ground first, took a wicked bounce. And for the keeper, El Shaarawy, to be able to find it and to be able to make a save on it and put it over the top of the
reflex.
Net. Really was. And obviously Oscar Ustari won man of the match, but I saw a ton of people on social media and even the talking heads talking about how El Shaarawy, the Egyptian keeper, he maybe should have been in a conversation for man of the match. But, I wanted to say I expected better from our Herons, but let's see. I know I'm down, I'm doom and gloom, but maybe they get a result against Porto. Maybe I'm putting Palmeiras and Porto on a pedestal that they don't necessarily deserve at this point at the Club FIFA World Cup. But that was a little messy mania. And obviously, folks, I mentioned Porto and Inter Miami, 3 o'clock. This is going to be a 3 o'clock kickoff tomorrow. I'm looking forward to it. I'll be locked into every turn of the ball. I'm flying home for a wedding, so I got a lot of free time. Dame, I took a personal day. I'll be at my ma's, chilling out, watching soccer, eating some good food. So I'm looking forward to watching our Inter Miami Herons in action against Porto. That is 3 p.m. Dame, let's see who might be available for this one. This is the Inter Miami Injury Report presented by Lytle, Ryder, Smith, Ivy, and Frauenrath.
Now it's time for the Inter Miami Injury Report, presented by Lytle, Ryder, Smith, Ivy, and Frauenrath.
And now a fight for it. One right back by Inter Miami.
Lytle, Ryder, Smith, Ivy, and Frauenrath, representing injured people and their families for more than 35 years. Visit foryourrights.com.
For 35 years, Lytle, Ryder, Smith, Ivy, and Frauenrath have been taking care of injured people and their families here in South Florida. ForYourRights.com. For more information, visit ForYourRights.com. That is Lytle, Ryder, Smith, Ivy, and Frauenrath. Let's take a look at the injury report for the game tomorrow. I mentioned FC Porto and our Inter Miami Herons. Davi Ruiz has a hamstring late June, and we call this the hashtag Hammy Squad. Davi Ruiz, Gonzalo Luan, Jordi Alba, and Yannick Bright. Those 4 players all dealing with hamstrings, and every single one of them, Davi Ruiz, Gonzalo Luan, Jordi Alba, and Yannick Bright, all of them are expected back late June.
Now, I did get
late
word.
June.
Jordi Alba was at practice. He is expected to be in the squad for this game against Porto.
And to Damien's point, folks, late June, folks, it's the 18th.
We're right around that
corner.
corner.
Right there. We're right there. So a lot of these guys, the cavalry will be coming back.
David Ruiz, Yannick Bright still recovering.
Now, Damien, what I think is interesting, and I'm hoping you might have some light on, but Baltasar Rodriguez ain't on here.
He was actually in the lineup against Al Ahly. Didn't get any minutes.
Bench. He was on the bench.
He was on the bench. He could have played if Mascherano deemed it was necessary.
And then Drake Callender, who was at the, by the way, Drake Callender, Dame, I mentioned during Russo and Rizzo, 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday, Colin Russo and myself, we were at the Panther game and the big win last night for them in the championship win. Drake Callender was at the game.
Wow.
They put him on the Jumbotron, Inter Miami keeper Drake Callender. I nudged Colin. I said, I don't know how much longer he's going to be an Inter Miami keeper, jokingly, just because Rocco Rios Novo and Oscar Ustari
He's got some time on his hands.
They're ahead of him on the sheet, too. But and especially with how well Oscar just played, I don't see Callender sneaking into that lineup. How about Ustari, though? God, he was terrible for about a month. And then the old savvy veteran was able to pull that out.
I mean, that's. I feel like that's why he's here. A player of 38 years old who has this much experience, not just at a club level, also international level, and also has a relationship with the head coach Javier Mascherano. I mean, this is why he's in the squad. It's obvious he's a leader, and he's been stepping up for us in the last few games.
Totally, and he's obviously going to be the keeper in between the posts against Porto, pending an injury. But that is the injury report. David Ruiz, Gonzalo Luan, Jordi Alba, Yannick Bright, all late June. Within the next week, expected to be back with hamstring injuries. And the Drake Callender has the hernia early July of 2025.
Good to have Baltasar Rodriguez back, though. That's
totally,
a big one.
Totally. And we saw his talent against San Jose. Was it Vancouver or San Jose? Damien, these nights add up. So, folks, Damien and I are the producers for Deportes Radio and the English side on 106.3 here. And these nights run together when we got the 10 o'clock starts. But, Dame, one of those late fixtures, Baltasar, his first touch of the ball was an assist.
Yeah,
his first touch of the ball was an assist.
And that's the only taste we got from him. So it's unfortunate because the like you said, and it was against San Jose, the first ball he touched produced an assist, and then that's it. We haven't seen from him in 2-3 weeks.
Right.
So good to have him back. He's in the lineup. He can play if needed. So just overall great to have these, not just him. We're getting all of our injured players back, which is huge for Inter Miami.
Dame, how about this for Porto? For my big-time soccer fans will remember this name. Diogo Costa?
Yeah.
Striker, former Chelsea man?
The infamous.
Arsenal? Or is it Chelsea?
He was Chelsea.
Yeah, it was Chelsea in Prem.
He was that was kind of like the standout for him. Chelsea, Atletico Madrid. He was also a long time Atletico Madrid, but nonetheless, the infamous Diogo Costa.
He is on the injury report for Porto. He's got a muscle injury late June. I'm assuming he's going to be a game time decision coming up for FC Porto. But that was a little injury report presented by our good friends at Lytle, Ryder, Smith, Ivy, and Frauenrath. Once again, foryourrights.com. Visit foryourrights.com for more information. Now, Dame, let's go around the MLS.
Now it's time for the Inter Miami Injury Report. Now it's time to go around the MLS, presented by your local South Florida Audi dealerships. Test drive the new Q6 e-tron today at your local South Florida Audi dealer, or visit AudiOffers.com to learn more.
So, folks, AudiUSA.com to learn more. That is the new site, AudiUSA.com to learn more. The road is calling. Embrace the thrill of the drive with the fully electric 2025 Audi Q6 e-tron, featuring effortless power, serious acceleration, and advanced Audi technology. It's not just a new electric vehicle, folks. It's a new way to experience driving. The fully electric Q6 e-tron, the next chapter of Audi, is here. Test drive it now at your local South Florida Audi dealer or visit AudiUSA.com to learn more. That is AudiUSA.com to learn more. So we have a couple of MLS teams that have been in battle in the Club FIFA World Cup. Obviously, our Inter Miami Herons, a 0-0 draw between Al Ahly. But then LAFC took on the mighty Chelsea Blues. Chelsea! They were not able to win. Looked respectable, though, Dame. Looked respectable.
They looked good.
And obviously, I mean, folks, Chelsea's payroll comparatively to LAFC's payroll, okay? But Pedro Neto able to get into the back end of that.
Great goal, by the way.
And then Enzo, as my Chelsea fans call him, Enzo Fernandes, able to get into the back of the net in the 79th minute. Neto's unreal, by the way. That Chelsea team is loaded. I asked myself at the end of the year, how the hell did that team not win the Premier League?
It's coming together. There was a few years where, you didn't know what direction they were going in. They were doing just a bunch of what we thought was senseless signings, but it's really coming together for Chelsea.
It is, and I think the camaraderie is starting to get there with players. For a number of weeks, people thought, they have so many players. How are they going to field so many top-tier players and give them minutes? They ultimately sent João Felix on loan. It'll be interesting to see what they do with him. It seems like Pedro Neto, Madueke, those have been the staples on the wings.
Nico Jackson.
Nico Jackson playing
Cole
a
Palmer.
9. It's like, but Palmer's interesting. Palmer's a 10. Do we agree?
Yeah.
Okay. A lot of Chelsea
Free
fans.
roaming.
Correct.
Right in the midfield.
A lot of Chelsea fans want him to be a 9, but that's not his
No.
game. So, the guy I wanted to bring up was Jadon Sancho, who actually had a pretty decent year for Chelsea, Manchester United man. Dame, I've been hearing crazy. Like, La Liga.
I believe he's heavily linked to Napoli, too. I think he gave the green light to Napoli.
La Liga and Napoli. Odd. He does not seem like an Italian player. That is not. Jadon Sancho is not an Italian
Well, he
league
came
player.
out of Dortmund. He came out of the Bundesliga.
But Dame, that's run and gun.
Yeah.
Italy is dig in and play
Right.
defense. That's not Jadon Sancho.
Right.
Jadon Sancho's not tracking back on defense. What, he's going to link up with another Man United reject and Scott McTominay? Come on.
Very disciplined soccer in Italy. That's
By the way,
sure.
I'm slandering McTominay. Guy was unreal. Was a huge reason that Napoli was able to win
Really
the Serie
quickly,
A this
also,
year.
a little sidebar. Mudryk. I don't know if you
Yeah,
remember the
Mikhailo
Ukrainian.
Mudryk. He was on roids.
He is facing a 4-year ban. I believe they found him guilty of abusing substances.
Again? So for those of you, Mikhailo Mudryk was a Ukrainian winger that came from Shakhtar, Dame, correct? Shakhtar?
Everybody in the EPL
Everyone
wanted him at the time.
Arsenal, if you remember, Miguel Arteta, the gaffer for Arsenal, was willing to, and I say Arteta, obviously the board there, was willing to give up like 60 million pounds. I think Chelsea bought him for what, 100 or 80?
Yeah, it was a very exaggerated rate.
They spent a considerable amount of coin to make sure that young man did not go to their London rivals at Arsenal. And Mikhailo Mudryk, 4 years? Dame, I did not see that. You need to send that to me because I got a lot of Chelsea fans. My cousin, one of them, loved Mudryk. Loved him. Overrated him. 4 years. It's crazy. But yeah, folks, around the MLS, LAFC 2-0 losing to the mighty Blues. Our Inter Miami in action coming up tomorrow against FC Porto. And LAFC going to be doing battle against Esperance. Esperance, one of those teams where, if you're not careful, you're going to find out. They got 66 points on their table.
They got nothing to lose.
They're a Tunisian team. There's someone that you look past. But I believe, Dame, if we talk to our good buddy Dave Denholm, the play-by-play announcer for LAFC, I think old Davey's expecting to win. I think they're expecting to win this game.
especially after the game that they played against Chelsea. I thought LAFC, although they didn't win, they definitely put up a fight, and I feel like at times they had Chelsea a little bit worried in that first half.
Yeah, and by the way, Dave Denham, great friend of show, great friend of mine, really helps us out a lot with guests and whatnot on LAFC. We hope our good buddy Dave is doing well, but Dave certainly has been busy with the Club FIFA World Cup, as have we been over here at ESPN 106.3 with our Inter Miami Herons in action. Now, Dame, we're going to take a timeout, but I kind of wanted to leave this segment with this. Like, does Inter Miami need to win a game in order for this to be a successful campaign? Think about that. Let's do about that in the break. Does Inter Miami need to win a game in the Club FIFA World Cup in order for this to be a successful campaign at the aforementioned Club FIFA World Cup? More Inter Miami talk, more general soccer talk. My favorite, man. This is another special of Pink Smoke with the Club FIFA World Cup and our Herons at the center of the soccer community and one of the biggest tournaments of the year. We'll talk about PSG, the mighty teams, Manchester City on a red card today, still able to win. This is Pink Smoke on ESPN 106.3.
It's Theo Dorsey, and I'm feeling hot, hot, hot. Temperatures are up, but your water shouldn't be full of mystery floaties. Culligan's got your back with water testing and reverse osmosis systems to keep things clean, cool, and crisp this summer. And get this, you can try it for just $10 a month. Stay cool, stay hydrated, and stop drinking who knows what. Visit Culligan.com today to schedule your free water test.
Hey, Culligan man! Hey, Steph Prince here, General Manager of ESPN West Palm, to tell you about a team that has meant a lot to me and this community for a long time. Bob and the team at Bradley Heating and Air Conditioning have been helping me stay cool for years, whether at home or in the office. And living in South Florida with 3 kids, I don't know what I'd do without them. Family owned and operated, serving Royal Palm Beach and beyond since 1980. Let the knowledgeable and trained team at Bradley help you with your residential and commercial needs, installation, repair, seasonal maintenance, upgrades of all makes and styles and models of HVAC equipment, and so much more. Bradley Heating and Air Conditioning does things right the first time and makes the process smooth, stress-free, and most importantly, keeps you cool. Give them a call at 561-793-7497. That's 561-793-7497 or BradleyAir.com. Any need, big or small, trust the amazing team at Bradley Heating and Air Conditioning.
Mike Rizzo here with the Sports Business Minute presented by the FAU MBA in Sport Management program. Rafael Devers, the third baseman for the Boston Red Sox, has been a topic of conversation for a while now. After refusing to move positions with Alex Bregman was added to the team, Devers now is on the move. And apparently this time around, at least according to ESPN's Buster Olney, reporting that the Red Sox were going to move on from Devers after he didn't respond to the owner, the man who is paying him a 10-year, $313.5 million contract. So the saga of Devers in Boston ends with Rafael Devers being traded to the San Francisco Giants. This is the Sports Business Minute presented by the FAU MBA in Sport Management program. Accelerate your career in sports with the program committed to developing top-notch executives and managers with a focus on the job placement for students and graduates. The FAU MBA in Sport Management program.
Calling all sports fans, grab your MVP card and head to Duffy's where you can catch all of the action. Not an MVP? Sign up for free and start earning rewards today. Duffy's is voted the best sports grill year after year with their award-winning burgers and wings. Don't forget about Duffy's famous 2-for-1 drinks all day, every day. And with over 80 TVs in every location, you'll never miss a minute of the game. Visit Duffy'sMVP.com to learn more. Duffy's, our game is always on.
At PNC Bank, they pride themselves on being boring. But the truth is, they couldn't be more excited to serve the South Florida community. For nearly 160 years, they've quietly toiled away to deliver brilliant results for their equally brilliant clients. Now, their dedicated financial teams are ready to do the boring work to help you unlock your own brilliance. Let's see what boring banking can do for you. PNC Bank, brilliantly boring since 1865. PNC Bank, National Association, member FDIC.
Get ready to elevate your driving experience with the all-new 2025 Range Rover Velar P250 Dynamic SE. A stunning blend of luxury performance and technology that will make every drive unforgettable. Right now, you can lease the new Velar for just $809 per month for 36 months. Yes, only $809 a month for a luxury SUV that sets new standards on the road. Visit Land Rover Palm Beach today and take advantage of this incredible offer. Terms and conditions apply. See dealer for details.
Breaking news on ESPN 106.3 is brought to you by St. Lucie Battery and Tire.
This just in. We begin this hour with breaking news.
When news breaks, ESPN 106.3 has it covered.
We've had developments. ESPN 106.3 can now report.
When your vehicle breaks, St. Lucie Battery and Tire fixes it. Stay tuned to ESPN 106.3 for more breaking news. Brought to you by St. Lucie Battery and Tire. This is Pink Smoke, brought to you by PNC Bank. Brilliantly boring since 1865. Here's Mike Rizzo.
Club FIFA World Cup in action. We are your update desk here on what is going on all across the U.S. with the Club FIFA World Cup. Welcome on back to Pink Smoke, where we talk everything Inter Miami, Lionel Messi, and at the forefront of the soccer community right now is Messi, Inter Miami at the Club FIFA World Cup. Obviously, the game against Al Ahly not going the way at least I wanted as an Inter Miami supporter and a fan. I thought Inter Miami had enough quality to beat Al Ahly, but still got a result. They got 1 point on the table, and as of right now, in Group A, the group that Inter Miami is in, Palmeiras, Benfica, Al Ahly, and our Inter Miami here, it's all 4 teams with 1 point and a draw.
It's like if no games were played. That's one way to look at it. But I feel like these results kind of help the situation Inter Miami's in because, like you were saying right before we went to break, a win kind of means we advance. A win means we put a foot and a half into that next round, which is huge for Inter Miami.
And that's where we're going to go next here because 888-760-3776, if you want to call in, Pink Smoke, right here, ESPN 106.3. Does Inter Miami have to get a win in order for this to be a successful campaign? Does Inter Miami have to get a win in order for this to be a successful campaign at the Club FIFA World Cup? I'll give you my answer in just a second because, folks, putting one behind the keeper takes more than talent. Sure, the pros make it look easy, but there's a whole lot of boring work behind it. Hours of drills, scrimmages, and dedication to the craft that ultimately pay off in a brilliant goal-scoring move. PNC Bank knows that it's the same with money. That's why they take a smart, steady, and, boring approach so you can make brilliant money moves that help you score your own goals. And PNC Bank makes it easy and convenient to manage your money when and where it works for you, including with new branch locations opening across Miami. See how keeping your money boring can be the brilliant move for you. Visit pnc.com/brilliantlyboring. PNC Bank, proud banking sponsor of Inter Miami CF radio broadcasts and Brilliantly Boring since 1865. The PNC Financial Services, Inc., all rights reserved, member FDIC. Dame, I do think Inter Miami has to get a win in order for this to be a successful campaign. You want to know why? It's the Messi factor. This whole team is, Damian, any game that Inter Miami plays, there's always the Messi factor. It's just so much pressure. And listen, I understand. A player like Lionel Messi is like LeBron. Let's Americanize it real quick. LeBron has been under a microscope since he's been 18 years old. I could argue the same thing is the same exact thing for Lionel Messi.
Probably before that, too.
And there are Messi fans. There are people who don't care about Inter Miami at all. They just want to see Messi have success. And I feel like those are the fans and the supporters that are going to come out of the woodwork if Messi does not look good at the Club FIFA World Cup. Would you agree with this?
Especially after the disappointment in Leagues Cup. I feel like Inter Miami kind of needs that international recognition. Last year we did win the Supporters' Shield, which awarded us as the best MLS team, regular season MLS team in the history of the MLS. So we kind of have that down. Now we're just looking for that international aspect of things. And what better stage to do it than the Club World Cup?
And I Porto, Palmeiras, maybe Palmeiras. Who do you think's a more even playing field? I think Porto.
I'll tell you what, Mike.
Go ahead.
I watched that Porto Palmeiras team, and if I had to pick who the better team in that game was, I know it was 0-0, but man, Palmeiras, they looked dangerous the entire game.
Wow.
I feel like Palmeiras is, if I'm picking out of the two, Palmeiras is probably the more dangerous team, the fresher team, and the team that kind of, these European teams, they came into this tournament with so much expectations, kind of, I don't want to say looking down at the South American teams, but nobody expected the South American teams to be putting up the performances that they've been putting. So they're kind of playing with that house money, no pressure kind of soccer. And when you're a Brazilian team who's already naturally talented, now we're talking about no pressure. I don't know. That's a dangerous team in my eyes.
Let's look no further. You talk about, European teams and kind of looking down a little bit on the South American. How about the Boca Juniors Benfica game?
Unreal.
Damian, that was one of the best soccer matches I've watched in a long time.
Unbelievable. And also the River game, the River Plate game, that was also a great game. I mean, I believe the South American teams to this point are undefeated in the tournament. So these teams are, you have to take them serious. I understand Porto, the pedigree Porto has playing in Europe, the resources that they have. But these South American teams, man, they're really putting up a fight in this tournament.
18 shots on target in that Benfica and Boca Juniors game. Boca Juniors, I think, Dame, that's a fun team. And the Argentinian teams, D, that's the same. Isn't Racing in the same? Is that the
That's
same?
where Batista Rodriguez is from.
It's the same. They're in the same league. So that's the Liga Professional.
And that game, Cavani didn't play in that game for Boca Juniors. Cavani is expected to be back for their next game. So they're just adding a great player who has a lot of history and knows how to score goals. Yeah,
but that Benfica Boca Junior game, if you guys got highlights, FOTMob always has the highlights after these games. If you could secure watching some of those highlights, it is well worth it.
How about two Argentinians scoring for Benfica, Di Maria and Otamendi, against an Argentinian team?
Veterans, too, right? I mean, Di Maria, I was playing with Di Maria in FIFA 13, I think.
Oh, do you remember him on Real Madrid?
Yeah, he was unreal.
Unbelievable. You would have thought he had 4 lungs.
It was...
The athleticism he showed on those teams, it's like Valverde today.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Di Maria on the right side, Ronaldo on the left.
Yes.
And then striker towards the back end of it, Benzema.
Yep, and Ronaldo for a good amount of time.
Ronaldo would rotate.
Guti was also on those teams.
That's why Ronaldo was, listen, I know we're Messi mania.
Gareth Bale, another one.
I know we're Messi mania and Inter Miami, but wow, Cristiano. This is coming from a Manchester United man, by the way, so take that with a grain of salt. Dame, where's United in this tournament?
Oh, man.
Where are they at?
They're building. Yeah. United they are in the lab, let's say.
I got to stop doing that, by the way. I got to stop doing that because we got plenty of great soccer with teams that are in the Club
really
FIFA
quickly,
World
Mike,
Cup. Go ahead.
I know we just had a game earlier today at the Hard Rock Stadium, actually.
Right.
What is wrong with whoever schedules these games to schedule a game at the Hard Rock Stadium in the heart of Miami at 3 p.m.?
I don't know, Dame. And listen, it's a fair question. Partner, I don't have an answer.
Oh, my God. They were dying out there.
But also like the timing. I think more people would want to go if you got,
Real
7
Madrid.
o'clock.
That's a great point.
7 o'clock. People getting off of work maybe.
What is it,
I don't
Wednesday?
know. But yeah, to your point, you're talking about the heat factor. Just, brother. Do you go outside and stuff? It's 95 degrees.
Probably the hottest point of the day.
Dude, I drove down. So Duffy's and Plantation, about an hour away here. We had all our shows there. Shout out my guy Marcus, Kyle, all our guys at Duffy's and Plantation. Had an absolute fantastic time for our Panther pregame there. Regardless, Dame, I was passing about the Lake Worth exit. Dude, it was 95 degrees on my dashboard.
Yeah,
that's in West Palm. What the hell do you think it was in Miami? It was 100 degrees yesterday in Miami.
Miami Gardens too.
Oh my God, it's 100 degrees.
Hard Rock is it's like in a way landlocked. It's not close to the coast where you kind of get that breeze. It's in the middle. It's in the heart of Miami. So, 3 p.m., we couldn't discuss this a little bit further. Maybe move the game up to 6 p.m. or something, more bearable time. And to your point, too, 3 p.m. on a Wednesday, Real Madrid, this is one of the biggest teams in the world. I feel like 6 p.m., 7 p.m. would have had a better turnout.
1-1, good game. Now, Mbappe, speaking, by the way, we're talking about Real Madrid versus Al Ahly. Al Ahly, aside from the Saudi Arabian League, obviously a top-tier side within the last couple of years with Saudi Arabia, because to get in all of these, to get in the Club FIFA World Cup, you gotta be able to be good at what you've been doing for the last couple of years. So, Al Ahly, pretty good side. Kylian Mbappe did not play for Madrid, but listen, his, substitute, so to say, the guy who started for him, had a goal. That was Gonzalo Garcia, the 21-year-old striker from Spain. Now, Dame, two things. No Mbappe. We'll get to that in a second. But we all watched the Nations League final. Maybe Gonzalo Garcia, the new striker for Spain after Morata, missed that penalty. They need a striker. That Spanish national team needs a striker.
I feel like they've been searching for a striker for the past few years, Spain, because ever since David Villa and Fernando Torres kind of retired, Morata, he kind of came in, he's
not it though.
He slotted in for a few years, but like you said, he's not it, and he had a huge opportunity to kind of show up for Spain, and unfortunately squandered it, not once but twice.
This young man played well. Gonzalo Garcia, the young Spaniard, 21-year-old striker, played well. I think Spain needs a position.
You know who didn't play well in that game?
Who's that?
There's two players that I realized.
Vinny, he got the hook.
Vinny was. I feel like
picked up a card and got the hook in the 69.
He got locked up by the right back. But Bellingham and Trent Alexander, I thought, did not look good in that game. And I don't know if it's just they're not in shape because the EPL. I mean, the leagues in Europe kind of ended a month ago, so maybe players are kind of in that preseason mentality. But it's the body language for me.
Yeah.
Trent Alexander, I mean, he was jogging at times.
Yeah.
It was very, very. They took him out. They pulled him out.
No, they yanked him. So 65th minute, Alexander Arnold came off. 84th, Bellingham. 80th, Vinny. And then the 46th, did Asensio. Now, I apologize. I was not able to see why Asensio the center back, got the yank in the 46th. But what happened there, Dame?
So going into the first half ended. He was the one that caused the penalty. But I think that was just a tactical change. I don't think there was much into his performance. I mean, he did give up a penalty, but he wasn't having an overwhelmingly bad game. I just feel like it was just tactics, a tactics thing.
João Cancelo. By the way, you said the right back. It was João Cancelo.
Yes,
former Manchester City, former, I believe, Barcelona.
He had a great game.
Barcelona.
Yeah, Chelsea for a while. He was on loan in Barcelona, and now he's at Al Hilal.
The joke between my City fans, Pep hated him.
Yeah,
Pep hated him. Sent him out on loan every single year.
Which it's strange.
Pep Guardiola, by the way, gaffer for Manchester City.
It's strange because I mean I feel like he's kind of that Pep Guardiola DNA.
Oh yeah,
a player who loves to be on possession, a right back who likes to get forward, and he was replaced by Kyle Walker, who also had a fallout with Pep Guardiola. So it's like that right back position is cursed for Manchester City.
The Pep, the City rejects. I love saying that. My buddies say that's our say a former United player, hey, he's a United reject. He's a City reject. That's going to be what's his face for United? So Garnacho. That's going to be Garnacho here coming up here soon. Now, Dame, Javi's coaching.
Yep, that was his first official game.
They need center backs. You were onto something there. The Real Madrid needs some center backs. They need some help in that central defense.
Oh yeah,
Rudiger. Rudiger didn't play in this. They started two. I kind of think no names, Dame.
Huijsen from
Valverde played a bad game as well. I thought
Bellingham coming from Bournemouth. That's where it's from.
Bellingham, as you mentioned, played a bad game. But Tchouaméni was actually pretty good from everything I've read. But that's a game. Listen, you think that lineup was strong enough to beat Al Hilal?
You would think that lineup is strong enough to beat anyone in the world, honestly. I mean, I know Mbappe's out.
Even with that back line of Garcia, Huijsen,
and that's kind
Asensio.
of the theme with this Real Madrid team because, I mean, if we look at the bench, I know Rudiger was out, but there's not many options for Real Madrid at that center back position. You know, they signed Huijsen from Bournemouth, who was supposed to be that next, staple center back for Real Madrid, but I mean, he didn't look too good in today's game.
Yeah.
Granted, not a lot of the players did for Real Madrid.
Now, I've been seeing rumors about Rodrigo and Arsenal, maybe a fee of 80. Arsenal still needs a striker. Talking a little transfer window talk, but Rodrigo played right wing today. He had the assist to Garcia. He had the assist on the lone goal. I don't know. I think one thing is clear. I don't think all three of these guys, Vinny, Rodrigo, and Mbappe, could coexist. I'm surprised Mbappe didn't play.
He had a fever. That's what's reported.
I mean, listen, I'm not trying to say the guy's not sick, but come on. Fever. 95 outside. Fever. Go sweat it out at practice.
Probably would have done him well to play.
Damien, is that an old school way of thinking?
Which, by the way,
Fever. Go sweat it out at practice.
Their practice was right here in our backyard, Palm Beach Gardens.
Yeah,
they were actually staying in Four Seasons on Palm Beach, so literally miles away from the studio.
And Manchester City in Boca at Lynn University.
Yep. And Dortmund at Inter Miami's facilities.
God, they look bad.
Yeah,
Dortmund looked bad.
Dortmund looked bad.
Fourth on the table. It's not like they were world beaters.
And coming in, they were in good form. That's all I heard. Dortmund is one of the better teams in form in this tournament.
Yep.
But they did not look good.
They weren't world beaters in Bundesliga, right? I mean, they finished fourth on the table comparatively. Leverkusen again with that second spot, and I feel like 15 out of 16 years, Bayern Munich wins that.
Yeah.
I know we have Leverkusen.
Now that's a dynasty if we want to talk about one.
God, we were talking dynasties earlier. I mean, Bayern Munich. I mean, Dame, Real Madrid, United in the 90s and the early 2000s. Munich is right up there. It's just an absolute juggernaut in soccer. And they could say United fell off. Madrid hasn't. But similar to Madrid, Bayern Munich has consistently been able to be that team. They won 11-0 or 10-0.
They're one of those
They
teams.
won 10. Listen, I understand Auckland City from New Zealand, okay? Who? I feel like that Snoop Dogg gif. Who? 10-0.
They did what they had to do. They can only handle what's in front of them, and they for sure handled it. But Bayern Munich is one of those teams similar to Real Madrid where they have that pedigree where if they come knocking on your door, it's very, very hard for you to stay loyal and say no.
How about Michael Olise, the former Crystal Palace winger?
Great player.
He has been amazing. And how about the gaffer from Burnley? Help me out. Former City center back, gaffer for Bayern Munich.
Company.
Yeah. How about him this year? A lot of questions if he was going to be the right guy for the helm. But let's be fair. Company was bad at Burnley. They got relegated. I'm not saying that they did not have nearly enough quality to be able to stay up in the Premier League 2 years ago. But to go from Burnley to Bayern with no experience, I say no experience, at least on the gaffer side.
But look at that team. I mean, you can put me or yourself up there.
You're saying what? Jamal Musiala, Kingsley Coman, Michael Olise, Kaiser Kane.
It's like a career FIFA team right there.
How about the toxic prats in my soccer group chat? They go, Bayern won 10-0. Nice to see Harry Kane get his cardio in. They went 10-0, and these guys are on Harry Kane because he didn't have a goal in the game against.
What's that called? Hate watch?
Oh my God, they're hysterical. I laughed out loud at my buddy slandering Harry Kane because I'm a Harry Kane. I like Harry Kane a lot. I think he's quality. I wanted him on United in the past window. Obviously, that didn't come to fruition. He went to Bayern. But they're going to get on Harry Kane's case because he didn't score a goal against Auckland City. Come on, mate. As Ange Postecoglou says.
You know what?
Come on, mate.
They probably had his prop on Hard Rock Bet. I feel like everybody thought that was going to be a freebie.
They probably
going
lost
in.
money. Knowing them, they lost money.
So they were
knowing
they were
that, those degenerates, those kids, they definitely lost money. I lost money with Inter Miami.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I did too.
Plus
my blind faith.
Plus 105. We should have bet the draw. We should have known.
Or double chance. Double chance is another nice bet that I like to take.
Tournament, even. Actually, I think in the World Cup, the last 2 times there have been goals in the inaugural game. I think Qatar, the last time Qatar got in. Now, they got smoked, I think, by Venezuela. I think Qatar played Venezuela in that opener. Usually in those opening games, I lean draw and not a lot of scoring.
Yeah, because they have the presentation before the game.
And everyone's nervous.
There's the nerves.
Yeah, everyone's nervous and afraid to make I have a saying, afraid to make a mistake. Afraid to make a mistake. They're going to pass the ball back and forth for the first 25 minutes of the game.
Yep. They don't want to be that first team to create that first big mistake.
Right. Folks, this is Pink Smoke. We're talking everything Club FIFA World Cup. This is the Inter Miami Club FIFA World Cup edition. Damien and I always love being able to come on here and talk world football with you fine folks here in West Palm Beach. Usually, we're updating you guys what MLS games, or rather what MLS fixtures Inter Miami has been up to, highlights, all that good stuff. But this is a special time. It doesn't come around that often. The Club FIFA World Cup is specifically not in the States either. So this is a big one. This is a big one as we gear up for Inter Miami taking on Porto coming up tomorrow at 3 p.m. More of Pink Smoke when we return right here on ESPN 106.3.
Lytle, Ryder, Smith, Ivy, and Fronrath, proudly representing the residents of South Florida since 1985, and proud supporter of Inter Miami on ESPN West Palm. Lytle, Ryder, Smith, Ivy, and Fronrath has attorneys across South Florida ready to fight for your rights. They've recovered billions for their clients, and you won't pay anything unless you win your case. If you have been injured, call the attorneys at Lytle, Ryder, Smith, Ivy, and Fronrath, 561-867-4117, or online at foryourrights.com. Main office in West Palm Beach.
The road is calling. Embrace the thrill of the drive with the fully electric Audi Q6 e-tron. Featuring effortless power, serious acceleration, and advanced Audi tech. It's not just a new EV, it's a new way to experience driving. The fully electric Audi Q6 e-tron. The next chapter of Audi is here.
The weather is heating up and summer is here. Stay cool with EDS Air Conditioning. Right now, qualified customers can take advantage of 0% interest for 60 months on a brand new AC. Hot streaks belong in sports, not in your home. With over 800 Google reviews and a 4.8 star rating, EDS is the name you can trust since 2006. Visit EDSIsYes.com today. Game day comfort starts now. Don't sweat the small stuff.
This is Pink Smoke, brought to you by PNC Bank. Brilliantly boring since 1865. Here's Mike Rizzo.
Our final segment of Pink Smoke. We got our Inter Miami Herons coming up and doing battle against FC Porto at 3 p.m. Dame, what are some keys that you're looking forward to in this game?
Solid defense. I think that's very important for Inter Miami. You know, we're playing against very tough competition, teams who are very well built with very high-class players. So first and foremost is the defense with Inter Miami, which is something we've struggled with all season.
I agree with you, though, with what you said earlier. Porto had a stinker against Palmeiras. Inter Miami might be able to make them pay. They can. I hope. Now, I don't want to say Suarez kind of a non-factor. Dude, that Inter Miami attack, it wasn't there. That's what I'm worried about. Creating goal-scoring opportunities. You mentioned the Falcone, right? Falcone in the header. That was an unbelievable save.
But to your point, Falcone is center back.
So, where are our attackers? Where's Tadio Allende? You know, I'd maybe even think about starting Fafa Pico.
Yes, that's where I was going. I feel like Allende has not shown the level that he showed at the beginning of the season. And I mean, Fafa Pico, every time he comes in, he gives us great minutes. So I don't understand what the logic is behind that. You know, maybe let's give him a shot. Why not? It's the FIFA World Cup tournament. But I think this tournament also works in the favor of Inter Miami, where if we do have good performances, if we do show that we can compete against these teams, it'll help us in the long run in this MLS Cup tournament.
What'd you think of Mascherano going back to a 4-4-2? I didn't like it. I didn't like the lineup.
Yeah.
I don't think I've liked Allen, Falcone, Aviles. Now, I like Toto being in. He picked up a card. God, he yanked him in the 46th minute.
That's been the theme of Toto Aviles. He just can't stay out of getting bookings. He's always getting yellow cards. And when you're a center back and when you're Inter Miami in general, and you know we're talking about defense not being 100% sound, you can't have players with yellow cards on that back line.
No, and it's like, you know, Aviles kind of got the bin, right? He got binned early on in the year you saw Noah Allen playing center back instead of Toto Aviles, and obviously Noah Allen is a fullback. So
yeah,
it's like,
and with Lujan out with the hamstring, I feel like he's the starting center back option. With him being out, it's kind of like we have to resort to Toto Aviles, who, like you just mentioned, has not been in the best form, has not really been playing with consistency. So that probably showed in that first game.
I thought Ian Frey had a solid 90. I thought he was solid in the game right back. You know, no Cello, no Wagon.
They did pull Ian Frey, I believe, at halftime for Cello. Which Cello, I mean, he looked decent, you know?
That starting 11, though, I like that Frey was starting.
Yeah.
I'm not sitting here trying to slander Cello. There's more dynamic.
There's more dynamic with
I have slandered Cello in previous shows, but The issue for Inter Miami was the attack. That was the issue. And the turnover. How about the turnovers early on? Dame, when are the turnovers ever going to end?
Yeah, I mean,
my God.
And that's just something.
Al Ali didn't make them pay.
That's a lot of the reasons why Inter Miami has issues defensively, because to begin with, we're always put in these positions where, we're on our back heel, tracking back. We get caught on counters a lot too, which against Porto, I don't see that happening, being that Porto will be the team that will be attacking. So it's going to be important that Inter Miami can get out on the counter against Porto as well.
Dame Ustari had a 9-4.
You never want that. I mean, good for him. Good for him having a great game, but you never want your goalkeeper being the best player on the field.
Talk about putting in a shift. That guy put in a week's worth of a shift. 9.4, obviously man of the match. But El Shenawi, I'm telling you, a lot of people were arguing. The keepers, do you want to know how you know it wasn't a good game? The keepers were the story. To that point, both sides, the keepers were the stories.
Yep,
ton of breakaway chances for Al Ali, too. As I mentioned, Inter Miami shot themselves in the foot numerous times on turnovers. It was an ugly game. Very ugly.
And
Can't continue.
The name escapes me, but very, very popular goalkeeper for United States. He was on the call for that game.
Tim Howard.
He was just absolutely just in love with the game that both
Ustari
and El Shenawi
Hang on,
played.
that's my GOAT.
Yeah,
Dang, you forgot about my GOAT, Tim Howard?
He was kind of Captain America before Pulisic was Captain America. And I know there's a lot of people out there saying, oh, well, Clint Dempsey. But
Dempsey, hang on, let's be honest here. The three of Howard, Donovan, Dempsey. We talked about how this could be the golden age. That was the golden
Is that
age.
the Mount Rushmore if we had
Has to be. Who's better than them?
Yeah.
And then I don't want to hear a 1930 semifinal.
Landon Donovan.
How about this? I'm looking at, because I'm a maniac and I love my United States soccer team. I'm looking at the most successful teams. Obviously, that one in 2002, they made it to the quarterfinals. That was the most recent one down there in Seoul back in 2002, where I believe Brazil won with R9.
Yeah, in 2014, they had a run. I believe they made it out of the group stage and they won a game in the knockout.
But that too. But in 2002, Dame, that was the farthest they went in recent history. And it was clearly a handball. We lost to Germany 1-0. It was clearly a handball and should have been called.
No VAR.
Exactly. So we got screwed there. We got burned there. But, Dame, 1930, semifinal run by the United States team. Spare me the 1930s. Spare me. And this is coming from a Cleveland Indians fan. Our last championship was 48. You want to know what my buddy Gomer tells me? Riz, it doesn't even count. It doesn't even count. It's been so long, it doesn't even count. But yeah, I'm at the point where how about, all right, they won 5. Hang on. At least we won 5-0. The national team won 5-0 against Trinidad and Tobago. And you're like, Riz, what, are you going to throw a party for Trinidad and Tobago? I am, because in 2018, they kept us out of the World Cup. And I know we're automatically.
I kind of disagree with that take. I feel like the history does matter as long
1930?
As long as you have recent success as well. If you don't have anything between now and 1930, then yeah, it's pathetic to be calling that out.
For the U.S. teams, it's always they make it out of the group stage and they don't win a game.
Well, that's the standards, and I feel like that's what's got to change.
So funny. What did you tell me? Hang on, you were.
They got to get serious.
Well, hang on, Dame. I went after your guy Maurizio Pochettino, a fellow South American, and you told me, Riz, the U.S. national team needs to get serious, and you're right. I'm not. Listen, was I bothered by it was I hot and bothered by it after Switzerland beat us 4-0? Absolutely. The first half. Game was over the 37th minute. But, oh, God.
But that's part of the problem. The fact that we look at it from a perspective where making out of the group stage is success for the United States. And that's the standard that needs to change here.
Are you into the Gold Cup right now?
I mean, it's so early, it's such an early stage.
But you got Mexico tonight.
We're getting games like...
Where's the godfather of this show, Julian?
Yeah. Big game for Mexico against Suriname.
Yeah. About that. Mexico, I believe they won their first fixture.
They did, 3-2.
They beat DR? Yeah, they beat the Dominican Republic.
Yep.
3-2.
And Dominican Republic plays Costa Rica today.
I'll tell you what.
This is Mexico's chance.
They've come a long way. And hang on, they're 11, looks pretty good.
Yeah.
Jimenez.
It's definitely.
How about Alvarez from West Ham in the game he had? Alvarez had a goal and assist.
Both Jimenez, Raul Jimenez and Santi Jimenez.
Yeah.
But this is Mexico's chance if they're going to win the Gold Cup. The Gold Cup, it's now because, United States, which has kind of been their daddy in the past few years, they don't have anybody.
No, they don't. And it's Mexico's to lose, I think, this year.
The pressure's definitely on Mexico.
Mexico's to lose. And Jimenez, by the way, AC Milan man now, and Raul Jimenez, all right, Fulham. So quality's there for this team.
And Alvarez from West Ham.
Yeah, and don't dude, a lot of these Mexican players too, they stay in the Mexican league. Like isn't there a rule or something in place, Damian, where
if you got money to pay your players, they stay. That's the problem with South America. These European teams, it's just tough to even the Mexican teams.
Right.
It's tough to compete against them, but if you're Mexican teams and you have the top dollar to pay your players, they'll stay in Mexico.
Totally. So Gold Cup action coming up this weekend, Dame. You got Club FIFA World Cup, obviously, with our Inter Miami here. Salzburg finally scored before the half. Speaking of the Liga MX teams, Pachuca playing Salzburg. Salzburg team, obviously, out of the Bundesliga. Believe, Dame, I want to make sure I'm correct on this. Or no, not Bundesliga, Austria. I apologize. Yes. Austria. They finished second on their table this year, but they got up 1-0 at half on Pachuca. And Pachuca is certainly one of the better sides for the Liga MX teams. When you think of Liga MX, who do you think of? Chivas?
Monterrey is the first one that comes to mind. Club America, that's probably the biggest
Monterrey
team.
Against Inter Milan.
Yep.
About that.
Club America is also, they won, I believe, four championships this year, and they were very close to 5, so that's probably the biggest team in Mexico right now, Club America.
But certainly a ton of riveting soccer coming up this weekend. Headlined, in my opinion at least, by the Inter Miami Herons taking on FC Porto. So let's quickly go back over the big fixtures again that happened in the Club FIFA World Cup. Manchester City winning 2-0 against Wydad Casablanca. Real Madrid tying Al Ahly 1-1 today. That was probably the biggest shock of the tournament so far. Monterrey tying Inter Milan, Internacional Milan. It was a big fixture for Monterrey, winning 1-1. Dortmund ended up tying Fluminense 0-0. Chelsea beating LAFC 2-0. Boca Juniors and Benfica. That was a 2-2 draw each side, picking up red cards. The most dominant performance outside of Bayern Munich beating Auckland City out of New Zealand 10-0. PSG beating Atletico Madrid. That was a rematch of the quarterfinals in the Champions League. PSG winning 4-0. Atletico picking up a red in the game and missing big chance after big chance. Dame, is Antoine Griezmann done? I loved it. Can I tell you something? I loved Griezmann.
I loved rooting for Griezmann as well.
Now, you're a Barcelona man. He was a failure at Barcelona. I think we could all agree that.
He was, but I wouldn't blame him too much. Those were the dark years for Barcelona.
So he went bankrupt.
I mean, even Coutinho came in. Coutinho also a no-show. At some point, it's like you can't keep blaming these players who are world-class everywhere else they play. It's kind of like you got to look in the mirror and reflect. But, yeah, man, I mean, Griezmann, he's kind of he's a player you've always rooted for, but he hasn't been at his best level the past few years.
Well, you and Elias Bustamante, sometimes I got to get the Barcelona goggles off of you guys a little bit. You guys you guys will give Yamal the Ballon d'Or for the next 4 years if you were allowed to.
Oh,
is that correct?
Come on, Lamine Yamal's a special player.
But you guys, listen, I'm not. You guys are Barcelona fans. It's what it is.
Well, Elias is an Arsenal fan.
I know
he's
he
a big
is.
Arsenal
I know
fan.
he is. Trust me. I know Elias is an Arsenal fan. I'm pulling his leg. Folks, you hear that music? That means it's time for us to go. Dame, appreciate you, brother.
Yeah, anytime. It's a pleasure.
Always a blast to come in here.
Pleasure as always.
Always a little blast to come in here, talk a little
time
football.
Time flies when we're here.
Yeah, it does. That's how you know we're having a great time. Inter Miami and Porto, 3 o'clock tomorrow, folks. Looking forward to touching on it next week. Pink Smoke. We'll catch up with you then. We'll see you later. Bye.
Lytle, Ryder, Smith, Ivy, and Fronrath, proudly representing the residents of South Florida since 1985.